let's shift to LeBron James. Because I've said for the last year and a half, going back to when he broke Kareem's record, become the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, that I'm like, that was kind of my, okay, he's the greatest. He's the greatest. Shelving that for a moment, because that's just my opinion. You know when you're like 11, 12 years old, and your parents or whoever raises you, they take you, they put you, it's a one-on-one or two-on-one in a room, and they say, okay, listen, insert name. We're gonna have the talk. And it's kind of awkward. It's about something, you learn things that you didn't know before, right? The talk. It's kind of the big boy, big girl talk. I think it's time we have an adult conversation about LeBron James. It's time we have an adult conversation. The Jordan fans are starting to run out of arguments. They are. Because one thing that I value, and I think a lot of folks value, they just may not even realize it, in other industries, it can be finance, it can be sales, it can be the trucker, right? Who's puts in the long hours, puts in the long miles, and puts together a long career of service to his company. We all respect longevity. And in the United States of America, in the modern era, because you talk about Willie Mays back in the day, guys, baseball players played forever back in the mid-20th century. Talking about the modern era. Take Tom Brady aside. There's not an athlete that can say they've done what LeBron James has done in terms of longevity. We could show you his numbers, what he did in the Olympics. He was the best player on the team. He was second in points per game by a tick to Steph. First in minutes per game, first in rebounds per game, first in assists per game, first in field goal percentage where he shot 66% from the field. And he's 39 years old, but going to be 40 in 4 months. None of what LeBron is doing, and notice what I do when I argue that LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. None of what LeBron is doing is minimizing a darn thing that Michael Jordan did. Nothing. Any championship he wins, any MVP he claims, any gold medal that he puts around his neck. None of that minimizes what the great Michael Jordan did between 1984 and majority of it and 1998. But the idea that a guy who can do everything, and I do mean literally everything, better and at a higher and more efficient level than Michael Jordan, scoring, shooting percentage, rebounds, assists, defense, you can make the case. I mean, I remember a time and place where I did a segment on the fact that Michael Jordan's Defensive Player of the Year stats, a little bit juiced by the local Chicago, scorekeepers. A little bit juiced. That the home road discrepancies were, let's just call it stark and call it a day. And LeBron, despite being first team All-NBA, or All-Defense rather, in 2013, they gave the award to Marc Gasol, who wasn't even first team All-Defense. So you can argue amongst yourselves, but it would appear that LeBron's peak defensively was probably better than Jordan's. LeBron's won with different teammates. LeBron's won with different coaches. LeBron's won in different systems. LeBron's won in different cities, different conferences. And he just happened to win gold medal as the best player at age 39 years old on the most talented Olympic roster ever, in the most talented Olympic field ever. He makes every teammate better. He's clutch when you need him to be. And he's one of the most coachable and liked superstar teammates ever. And I think this matters. When you ask Anthony Edwards, ask Steph Curry. I mean, Steph Curry and LeBron, you'd think they were like childhood friends, by the way. And ironically, they were actually born in the same hospital, which is just wild, in Akron, Ohio. But I mean, LeBron and Steph, I mean, they are just bear hugging after every game. Steph was the one who announced LeBron, man, you are going to be the flag bearer at the opening ceremony of the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. KD speaks highly of LeBron and is reverent to LeBron. Anthony Davis, who's obviously been his teammate for the last 5 years, loves him. Everybody in Team USA, the king, you're the man, I think it does matter when we talk about longevity, and one could make a case as why he's been so great this late into his career, the fact that Jordan's teammates could not stand him whatsoever. And Jordan, for as great as he is, and he is no lower I've heard some put him as, oh, Jordan's the third best player ever. Respect to Kareem. Kareem is not better than Jordan. And I love Kareem. I think Kareem is mostly underrated by many. And he's the third best player ever. He's not better than Jordan. He's not. His peak, his prime was not better than Michael Jordan. How many teammates did Michael Jordan make better relative to how many teammates LeBron made better? Because I can remember a time and place when Scottie Pippen, the year after Michael Jordan left, just so happened to finish top 5 in MVP voting. And the Bulls, if not for a bad officiating error against the Knicks in the second round, they may make it to the finals in 1994 with no Michael Jordan. Because they had Phil Jackson, who was successful elsewhere. They had Scottie Pippen, who was part of a Portland Trail Blazers team that had the Lakers down 3-1 in their dynasty. And a lot of guys. Dennis Rodman was successful with the Bad Boy Pistons. He had a role to play. Horace Grant, who was with Jordan in the first part of the dynasty, he was successful with the Orlando Magic. One could argue better. Kyrie Irving, prior to this season, was really talented, and that's basically it. Prior to LeBron James. Had never been past the second round prior to this past season outside of his career with LeBron. Talk about guys like Chris Bosh, never reached the heights that he did until LeBron. Kevin Love, who we saw toward the end of his time in Cleveland, was a receding player. LeBron was getting him to finals. Ask yourself, if I may be so bold, when Jordan retired the first time, the Bulls won over 50 games and very easily could have gotten to the finals that year. And LeBron leaves the Cavs not once but twice in 2010 and 2018, and they win a combined, if memory serves me correct, 38 games. Combined! Does that factor into my argument that LeBron makes teammates better more so than Jordan does? You darn skippy it does. Most talented Olympic field in history. Most talented Olympic team that we put together. The best shooter of all time, and as I said, one of the greatest big game players in Steph Curry. One of the greatest scorers ever, Kevin Durant. Anthony Edwards, who, you see what he's doing now. You wait till about 5-6 years from now. Watch out, NBA. This kid's coming. Anthony Davis, in my view, best defensive player in the league. Devin Booker, great scorer, has a 70-point game on his resume. And they all deferred throughout the tournament to LeBron James. They all revered LeBron James. LeBron, you're the king. You carry us to the finish line. Now, it was Steph in the last couple of games who finished the deal. But in many of those instances, it was LeBron who was setting him up with the shot. Scoring, LeBron's better. Passing, he's infinitely better. Rebounds, defense. By the way, does it matter? Would it help Michael Jordan's legacy if he had, I don't know, the greatest defensive player in the history, greatest defensive play in the history of basketball, one that still haunts me to this day, which LeBron did in the 2016 finals, the block. And we hear about Michael Jordan, the shot against the Cavs. Bulls didn't even win the championship that year. Not to say it won a clutch shot. It was a very clutch shot given the circumstances. That was 1989. Bulls did not win the championship that year. That block by LeBron James is what led to the Kyrie 3 to win the championship for the Cavs back in 2016 over a 73-9 Golden State Warriors team. 8 straight finals, 10 in total. Folks, when LeBron James came into the NBA, Michael Jordan had just retired for the final time. It's been 22 years, going on 22 years. He's still awesome. I find it very interesting. We talk about that 03 draft class as one of the best ever, as we should. LeBron, Melo, Wade. In 2024, Melo has been retired for 2 years. He's on the sideline cheering on Team USA. Dwayne Wade has been retired for 5 years. By the way, Melo, Wade, all-time legends. I was a huge Wade fan back in the day. Wade, all-time legend, retired 5 years ago, has been inducted in the Hall of Fame, calling the game for NBC. And LeBron's still going as strong as ever. Keep in mind, he's coming off of a season in which he averaged 25, 8, and 7, shot over 50% from the field and over 40% from three-point range. I thought, wrongly, coming into the Olympics, at least post-NBA season, I did my top 10 players in the league. I had LeBron among American players as the third best player in the league. Among American players, I had Steph above him, and I had Tatum above him. Well, Tatum, that is way off the table now. And that's not to say Tatum's like out of the top 10. That'd be ridiculous. I still love Tatum, but he was objectively awful in the Olympics, which is why the criticism of Kerr not playing him was insane. But LeBron's obvious clearly better than Tatum. And as great as Steph is, and you heard me wax poetic about my guy, LeBron's still better than Steph. We could show you the numbers one more time. LeBron, second on Team USA in scoring and first in the following: minutes, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage. 39 years old. Most stacked Olympic field ever. Jokic was there. Giannis was there. Steph Curry was there. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was there. Victor Wembanyama was there. And the old guy, currently the oldest player in the NBA, was the last man standing as it pertained to most valuable player. None of this and none of anything that I have just said is not to say Michael Jordan is not an all-time legend. It is no lower, LeBron and Jordan, no lower than the second best player ever. He could not do what this man could do. Darn sure at his age. Michael at the end, when he was 39, 40 years old, he's good. He's still scoring 20 points per game, but was out of shape, didn't take care of his body, was even harsher to teammates. Meanwhile, LeBron is beloved by teammates, which is why he gets the best out of them. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.